When you create a brand new project in Unity, you'll be presented with something that looks like this. We're looking at Unity 2021.1.22f1, and we can see the version number of the engine up here in the title bar. Every single version of Unity looks approximately the same, so even if the version that you're looking at right now is slightly different than this, unless they've done a complete redesign of the game engine, it won't look too much different. By default, we're looking at our scene view. Our scene view displays what's currently in our game right now, and it looks something like this. We can right click and hold to look around in our scene view. While we're holding the right mouse button, I can use WASD to strafe left and right, move forward and backward, and also use Q and E to go up and down. It's similar to like the controls for a first-person shooter, and this is typically how I navigate around my scene when I'm doing game development. In my scene, I'll see all of the objects that comprise my game so far. In addition to being able to see what's in my scene right now, which at the moment is just a light and a camera, which is indicated by this light gizmo and this camera gizmo, in addition to seeing the objects here in the scene view, I can also see what objects are in my scene over here in the hierarchy. Every single object that's displayed in my game will also be displayed here in my hierarchy. It's essentially what it looks like in the 3D world versus just a list of these objects in the hierarchy. In addition to the hierarchy window and the scene window, we're also given a project window over here. Now, my layout may look slightly different than yours, and we can change our layouts actually if we go here to window layout. So if I go back to the default layout, it might look something more like this. So I still have my hierarchy window here on the left. I've got my scene window here in the center. I've got my project window down here on the bottom. In my project window, I can display and look at all of the assets or all of the resources that I can put into my game at any given time. By default, this is pretty empty, typically with just a scenes folder, and inside that I have this thing called sample scene. This sample scene is actually the scene I currently have loaded here, right? Which is kind of what I'm looking at, which is this main camera directional light. In addition to the scene view, in addition to the hierarchy, in addition to the project, I also have a console. The console is where Unity will display any sort of output the engine needs to give me. If I have any errors, warnings, feedback that the engine needs to provide back to me as the developer. I also have a game tab up here in the top. The game tab is what my video game looks like right now, which is this. It's nothing. I haven't built anything yet, so it's just a default screen. This is the exact same thing as if I go and hit play. If I hit this play button, it's going to try and run my game as I've set it up, which it just looks like this. I haven't added any objects to it or added any logic at all. The last window that we want to look at, or the second to last window we want to look at, is there's an asset store link here. The asset store is essentially a collection of resources that we can import into our project that's been built by community or third-party people. You can build assets for Unity and post them on the asset store. It's no longer integrated with the engine, and now it's open in a web browser. So you can actually close this tab so it's no longer there if you prefer not to see it. The last window we want to take a look at is this one over here. This one's called the inspector. The inspector gives us any information about an object or an asset that we currently have selected. Let me give you an example. If I go look at this main camera and I select it, I can see a whole bunch of information populated over here in the inspector.